You're under arrest for the murder of William and Hilda Stone.
Everything is going according to plan.
These tests can't be right. Run them again. I can't be.
Lori, I can't do this. I can't let you get hurt.
Jacob, if you keep trying to get Nyla out, you might end up in there with her.
The Stone Empire is crumbling.
Your family got her into this, Jacob. Fix it.
Jacob, what are we going to do?
We're gonna fight like hell.
Say Less I Love You. Season 4, Episode 8.
Chapter 336, Trixa. Waking up feels like someone yanks me out of a nightmare, only to drop me right into a new one. For a terrifying second, I can't tell where I am. Dark shapes loom on all sides, and the stench of damp concrete and antiseptic clogs my lungs. Then a flickering light bulb overhead casts just enough glow for me to make out a battered exam table and a rusted IV stand in the corner. My entire body aches, especially my left shoulder, which burns with a hot, relentless throb. The sound I make as I try to move off this cot is somewhere between a groan and a whimper. Pain clamps across my ribs, and my muscles feel like jelly. A bandage on my shoulder is half soaked in blood, reminding me with a sickening jolt that I've been shot. My mind snaps to the orchard fiasco. The memory hits in a fractured series of images. Muzzle flashes through the trees, the reek of gasoline, a guard collapsing under my bullet, and me running for my life. Somewhere deep in my mind, I keep seeing the orchard meltdown that I caused by trying to exchange evidence quietly. Instead of a clean handoff, I get a war zone. I blink hard, trying to focus on something besides my throbbing shoulder. There's movement in a corner. Someone stands there, half hidden by shadows. "Who's there?" I rasp, my throat raw like I've swallowed glass shards. A figure steps out into the weak light, arms crossed, gaze cautious. It takes me a second to recognize him. Derek, tall, unshaven, sporting a bruise along his jaw. "You're awake," he says, his tone flat. "Good. You've been drifting in and out for a day. We worry you might never wake up." I press my free hand to my temple, praying the spinning in my head stops. How did I get here? I slur the words slightly. Last thing I remember is the orchard meltdown. Flames, gunshots everywhere. My mouth feels so dry. "Why are you here, Derek?" He shrugs. "I think about leaving you to die out there. But you had that flash drive. Couldn't let you die and lose the only real proof that might help Nyla." His eyes flick to my left hand, and I realize I'm gripping something small and plastic. I can also see a flicker of worry in his expression before he looks away. I pry my stiff fingers open and find a cracked flash drive. "Damn," I hiss. The plastic casing is split, the tip nearly snapped off. It's half busted. "You refuse to let it go no matter what," he mutters. "I had to give it back to you before you calmed down. Anyway, half busted is better than gone. We can see if we can salvage any data. Without it, we might never pull Nyla out of this mess." Nyla's face swims in my mind, smiling, determined, and likely behind bars or trapped in some hospital ward, all thanks to my father's manipulations. Anger twists hot in my gut. "I want a quiet orchard exchange," I say bitterly. "I plan to hand off evidence to Stone's people. But the orchard meltdown is anything but quiet, is it?" "Understatement," Derek replies. He shifts, letting me see a bruised cut across his forehead. "I get banged up too. We barely make it out. You bleed like a stuck pig. I bring you here. Some underground clinic, courtesy of a contact. Figured you want off the grid." "Thanks," I force out, the word tasting odd. I never imagined thanking Derek for anything. We're not allies, but I need him now. "What about Nyla? And who's the doc exactly?" Derek tells me a few details, enough that I realize the orchard fiasco left him battered, but I'm only half listening because my head aches. When he mentions Zara testifying, my stomach twists. It's not like we can trust just anyone. Then I hear footsteps in the hallway. "Speak of the devil," Derek murmurs. The door creaks and a woman in nurse's scrubs steps inside, carrying a tray of bandages. My breath catches. It's Zara. Fury flares instantly. Zara's eyes flick from Derek to me. "You're awake," she says quietly, setting down her tray. She tries to hold my gaze but glances away, guilt plain on her face. "What the hell is she doing here?" I snap, my pulse spiking. She's the one who helped bury Nyla in court, lied under oath for Marcus. Zara flinches. "I know how it looks," she whispers. "But my father's gambling debt. Marcus threatened him." Her voice trembles. "He said he'd kill my father if I didn't claim Nyla plotted sabotage. I couldn't refuse, and I hate myself for it. Now I'm trying to make it right if it's not too late." I glare, every instinct telling me to leap off the cot and throttle her. Pain locks me in place anyway. "So now you're some hero, nursing me back to health?" "Great. Touching," I say, my tone dripping sarcasm. Derek shoots me a warning look. "Look, Trixa, I know Zara isn't perfect, but she's the one who's been patching you up, giving us a safe space. We need her," he insists. "She picks up rumors from Marcus's circle. She's not lying about her father's debts." Zara nods. "Marcus forced me to testify against Nyla. If I refused, my dad was dead. I'm sorry." She sets a trembling hand on the tray of medical supplies. "If you want me gone, I'll go. But I can't keep letting Marcus destroy everyone's life." I swallow bitterness. My father, of course, would do anything. Forge Orchard meltdown data, blackmail hospital staff, bribe half the city. "Fine," I bite out. "Patch me up then. I'm not forgetting your betrayal, though. Nyla's paying for your father's gambling problems." I groan, shifting to let her near my shoulder. Pain lances through me, and I nearly black out. Zara steps closer, concentration carved into her features as she peels away the old bandage. My entire body clenches when she tugs off the crusted gauze. "Sorry," she murmurs. "This stings." I clamp my mouth shut, refusing to let a scream escape. The orchard fiasco might have destroyed my easy path to delivering evidence, but I won't let them break me. Zara cleans the wound carefully, then applies fresh gauze, securing it with surprising gentleness. When she finishes, I exhale shakily, heart pounding like I've just run a marathon. "Now what?" I demand, meeting Derek's gaze. "Marcus wants me dead. Mercenaries probably roam the city looking for me. We're holed up in a—" I glance around. "Literal hole in the ground. You expect me to sit here until they find me?" He shakes his head. "No time for that. Zara's hearing Marcus's men are wiping out any orchard meltdown evidence you might have stashed. If you have backups, they'll find it soon." My fist clenches. I know how thorough Marcus is. "I have a second set," I admit. "Not everything was at the orchard fiasco. It's hidden in a basement storage locker near the overpass. If they get there first, it's over." Zara hovers with her tray. "I can stay here and distract whoever shows up. If they come, I'll send them on a wild goose chase. Say you already left or something." I snort. "You realize they might kill you for lying?" She swallows. "I have to try. I owe Nyla that much, and my father is still in debt to Marcus. If I hide you or help you escape, he might think I'm still on his side." Part of me wants to spit that she can't redeem herself so easily, but even I know we need every advantage. "Fine," I say brusquely. "Just don't blow it." Zara nods. Derek turns to me, concern edging his voice. "You need to leave soon before the painkillers wear off. Let me help you walk." I hate the sympathy in his eyes, but I hate how weak my legs feel even more. "I can walk on my own," I snap, then push off the cot. The jolt of agony across my shoulder almost makes me pass out. I see black spots flickering, and Derek lunges to keep me upright. "That wound begs to differ," he mutters. I shoot him a venomous look, but allow him to slip an arm under my elbow. Zara watches anxiously, probably expecting me to keel over. "If you tear those stitches again," she warns softly, "you'll bleed out." "Noted," I grind out. The orchard meltdown fiasco gave me a bullet hole, but not a broken spirit. "Let's go, Derek." As we head for the door, Zara touches my arm, her gaze flicking to the floor. "My father." I sigh, pain swirling behind my eyes. If we expose Marcus's manipulation, if we free Nyla, maybe your father gets off the hook, maybe not. I can't promise more. She nods, stepping aside, letting us pass. The corridor to the basement exit is damp, reeking of mildew and disuse. Derek leads with a small flashlight, scanning corners. A flimsy deadbolt secures the final door. My heart pounds as he unlocks it. Outside, rain patters lightly, turning the night air clammy. "You sure you can handle this?" Derek asks, glancing at my bandage. "Stop coddling me," I snap, though a wave of dizziness threatens to topple me. "We have evidence to save." He grunts in acknowledgement, and we slip into a narrow alley. Every nerve in my body is on high alert, expecting mercenaries at any second. The orchard fiasco showed me how fast they strike. We wind through the alley until we reach a battered sedan, which Derek claims he's stashed. I half fall into the passenger seat, chest heaving. My shoulder throbs fiercely. Derek starts the engine, pulling away with a low growl. Rain batters the windshield, the deserted streets lit by sporadic lampposts. I rest my hand over the broken flash drive in my pocket. Memory replays the orchard fiasco. I see muzzle flashes, smell burning oil, recall the moment I pull the trigger. A half-inch difference, and maybe I'd be the one dead. Eventually, Derek breaks the tense silence. "Where's the second stash you talked about?" I swallow. "Abandoned apartments near the overpass in the basement storage. If they haven't torn it apart, my backups are still there. If not, we're done." He nods, jaw set. "Let's hope we're faster." We drive through rain-slicked roads, my heart jumping at every shadow. No black SUVs appear, though. We stick to side streets, eventually spotting the overpass looming above us, rust-stained and ominous. I guide him to a back lot behind a row of derelict apartment buildings. Broken glass glitters under the faint glow of a distant street lamp. We slip out of the car, the cold drizzle slicing through me. I grit my teeth, ignoring the trembling in my legs. The building's main entrance is chained, so Derek picks the lock with nimble moves. The chain rattles free and we push inside. Musty darkness swallows us, water dripping somewhere overhead. My flashlight beam reveals peeling wallpaper, mold creeping along the edges. Down a flight of decaying steps, a row of storage cubicles lines the hallway. My heart thuds painfully. "Second door on the left," I whisper. Pain crackles in my shoulder as I move. When we reach it, the padlock dangles from the latch, sawed off. Dread claws at me. I shove the door open. Inside, everything's trashed. Boxes, an old trunk, all rummaged. "They've been here," I choke out. My voice quivers with desperation. Derek curses, sifting through debris. Maybe they missed something? I sink to my knees, ignoring the agony. A glint catches my eye near a busted vent. I tug a small plastic pouch free, shining Derek's flashlight on it. An SD card labeled ORCH2 relief slams through me, nearly dizzying. "Got it," I whisper. Might be enough orchard meltdown data to prove Nyla's innocence. Derek starts to reply, but a loud crash from the floor above cuts him off. Footsteps thunder overhead. My blood runs cold. "We're out of time," he mutters. "They must have tailed us." We rush back to the stairs, but the footsteps close in. Derek spots a side door to a corridor. We sprint for it, forcing the lock with one quick gunshot. The sound booms, echoing, definitely giving away our location. We slip into a utility room reeking of rusted pipes, pushing through until we find another exit. Derek kicks it open. Cold rain hits us. Behind us, furious shouts echo, gunfire rattling. Bullets ping off pipes. My shoulder flares painfully as Derek hauls me, half limping through the courtyard. Another volley of shots whizzes by, smacking into a wall. Then we reach an alley that opens onto the street. There's the sedan shining under the drizzle. We dive in, Derek twisting the key. The engine roars, and we peel out. In the side mirror, I glimpse silhouettes pouring out of the building, muzzle flashes in the gloom. One bullet cracks the rear window, but we speed around a corner, disappearing into the night. "Damn it," Derek growls, gripping the wheel. Rain thrashes the car as we careen down a side road. My heartbeat slams in my ears. I cradle the SD card, breathing hard. "I have it," I pant, ignoring the screams in my shoulder. "This might blow Marcus's sabotage wide open." He exhales, face pale. We'll lie low. Figure out how to decode it. If it's legit, we can nail him. Save Nyla. I nod, though pain fogs my vision. Maybe the orchard fiasco hasn't destroyed everything after all. I'm still breathing, and I have a piece of evidence that might crack Marcus's lies. The orchard meltdown nearly kills me, but I refuse to let it kill the truth. Thunder rumbles overhead, the city lights strobing across the windshield. My father's men, or orchard meltdown mercenaries, won't stop hunting us now. But I survive, and I'm still determined to help Nyla. That raw determination keeps me conscious even as I teeter on the edge of blacking out from pain. Time to finish what I start. The orchard fiasco tries to bury me, but fails. I'm alive, clutching the only data that can expose Marcus. Nyla won't rot in prison if I have my way. I close my eyes a moment, teeth set against the throbbing in my shoulder. Derek glances my way, his jaw locked. We tear through the city's underbelly in search of another safe house. In the back of my mind, I hear echoes of Nyla's voice, kind, hopeful, so undeserving of this nightmare. I do what must be done, orchard meltdown be damned. If I must give my last breath for redemption, so be it. I'm Trixa Swan, and I'm not dying until I burn my father's lies to the ground. A faint, grim smile touches my lips as we vanish deeper into the stormy night. They try to bury me in that orchard fiasco, but I'm not ready to lie still. Not when I have a friend to save.
I thought I was getting a fake marriage, but I didn't know my story was being told by Miss Tyler.
This isn't just any fake marriage now, is it?
No. You introduced me to the devil.
Come on, girl. Jacob isn't that bad.
Oh, I love Jacob. His family, on the other hand?
Beggars can't be choosers, Nyla. You should be grateful I even let Jacob Stone look your way.
I just wanted to save my granddaddy. Is that so bad? Why couldn't you let this be a normal fake marriage? Instead, you put me in a twisty story filled with money, betrayal, power, and lies.
Let's not forget love.
That's what keeps me going. But not gonna lie, Miss Tyler. This story you got me in ain't the simple fake marriage happy ending I thought it would be.
It's not. Where would be the fun in that?
Treat yourself to Say Less, I Love You. New releases every Thursday, now with longer episodes. Or skip the wait and grab the full series bundle from TylerWalker.com for up to 85% off. Treat yourself with Miss Tyler. Chapter 337. Nyla. I wake with a start, my heart pounding against my ribs as though it wants to escape. The nightmare I have is too familiar. I'm standing in a courtroom, shackled at the ankles, my belly swollen beneath an orange jumpsuit. The jury glares at me, and the judge's gavel slams, echoing like a thunderclap. I'm sentenced, and the baby inside me kicks in protest. That's when I jolt awake, covered in a film of sweat. It takes a second to reorient myself. I'm in Crestwood Private Hospital, not a prison cell. The walls are stark white, the overhead lights dim to a gentle glow. There's an IV drip attached to my wrist, and the faint beeping of machines hums in the background. A sharper memory floods in. My meltdown in court just days ago, the world learning I'm pregnant. My stomach knots at the thought. Jacob is slumped in a vinyl chair by my bed. He's dozing, arms folded on his chest, his hair rumpled in a way that might be endearing if our lives weren't in complete chaos. I realize this is day 4 of me being here. 4 days since I collapsed in the middle of that hearing, humiliated in front of the media that now calls me the Black Widow nurse. I shift slightly, and the IV line tugs at my arm. The noise makes Jacob stir. He blinks, sees me awake, and jumps to his feet, crossing the small distance to the bed in 2 steps. Nyla, he breathes, brushing damp strands of hair away from my forehead. You're sweating again. Another nightmare? I swallow, pressing a hand to my chest to steady my breathing. Yes, I admit. Courtroom dreams, jumpsuits, the baby. My free hand drifts protectively over my lower abdomen, which is only starting to show a gentle curve. Jacob's expression tightens. We're not letting that happen, he says firmly. I won't allow it. He leans in to press a gentle kiss to my temple, and some of the tension in my shoulders melts. It's only been 4 days, but it feels like an eternity since I was dragged out of that courtroom on a stretcher. Each morning, I half expect prison guards to burst in and haul me away. The thought makes my skin crawl. There's a soft knock at the door and a nurse peeks in. Miss Thomas, checking vitals, she says kindly, entering with a rolling blood pressure machine. I nod, letting her wrap the cuff around my arm. Jacob steps back to give her space, though his eyes stay on me as if I'm about to vanish. The nurse pumps the cuff. I feel the pressure tighten around my bicep. Everything okay? I ask quietly. She offers a neutral smile. Vitals are stable. Doctor will come see you later this morning. With that, she finishes and slips out, leaving me alone with Jacob again. I exhale. Stable, but for how long? My voice trembles before I can stop it. Jacob sits on the bed's edge. You're stronger than you realize, he assures me, taking my hand in his. His gaze drops to my belly. And the baby's stable too, right? I nod, remembering the doctor's words from last night. They said the baby's heartbeat is normal, but they keep warning me about stress. I give a short, humorless laugh, as if that's something I can avoid with this trial looming. He lifts our joined hands to his lips, brushes a light kiss across my knuckles. The tenderness in the gesture nearly undoes me. We'll find a way, he insists softly. I wish I could fully believe him, but the media outside is calling me vile names, weaving stories of me as a cunning murderer. My father-in-law's funeral pictures plaster tabloids next to my photo, the headlines reading, Black Widow Nurse, Killed for a Baby's Inheritance. My stomach twists. If not for the baby, I'd be tempted to break down completely. Instead, I force myself to stay upright, to breathe. This child deserves better than a mother lost to despair. Jacob must read the flicker of sorrow in my eyes, because he squeezes my hand. You should eat, he says, glancing at the clock on the wall. You haven't had breakfast yet. I'm not hungry, I murmur, but at that exact moment, my stomach growls. We exchange a wry look. He helps me adjust the bed so I can sit up. Then he takes a covered tray from a side table. He must have ordered something while I was asleep. Under the lid is oatmeal, fresh fruit, and a small cup of tea. It's simple, but my chest tightens at the sweetness of it, reminding me how Jacob always tries to protect me in these small ways. He offers me a spoon, and for a minute, we pretend we're a normal couple. He even teases me about the bland hospital oatmeal, making a little show of feeding me the first bite. My eyes drift shut, tasting the warmth, the mild sweetness. It's not gourmet, but after days of panic, the gesture feels too precious. You're spoiling me, I say, forcing a small smile. I might get used to this. He tries a playful grin, but it doesn't reach his eyes. Get used to it all you want, as long as you promise not to let them drag you back. The mention of a cell steals the air between us. We both know that might happen if the doctors or the warden decide I'm well enough to return to prison. My pulse flutters with anxiety. It's not under my control nor his. A knock at the door interrupts the quiet. Margaret Ross, my lawyer, steps inside. Her expression is grim. Jacob, Nyla, she greets, pulling the door shut behind her. She still wears the same pencil skirt from the last time I saw her. Like she's been working around the clock. I feel my appetite vanish. Margaret, I say, heart sinking at her visible tension. What's happened? She sets her briefcase on the foot of my bed, glancing from me to Jacob. The prosecution is pushing hard, she says flatly. They're refusing to let the trial stall indefinitely. They suspect you're feigning illness to dodge court. The judge is, well, he's sympathetic. But the DA is demanding we continue in the next few days. Jacob bristles. She nearly fainted to death in that courtroom. Are they blind? Margaret shakes her head. They just don't care, and the media is fueling it. They've latched onto the pregnancy scandal, calling you. Her gaze slides to me. The Black Widow nurse. The public wants your head, and the prosecution is happy to deliver it. They're spinning this story that you deliberately got pregnant for some twisted inheritance scheme. It's monstrous. Did you see the news? They're running with it. I press trembling fingers to my temples, feeling my pulse throb. I can't do this, I whisper. My entire body trembles with indignation and helplessness. It's all lies, but I can't keep lying here. Half terrified the warden will barge in. Margaret's features soften. Look, the warden's threatening to haul you back to the cell if you remain hospitalized beyond 48 hours. We might negotiate some middle ground, but it's risky. Jacob, I know you want to protect her, but you can't just bribe or fight them without consequences. Jacob's face hardens. I'll do what's necessary. Margaret sighs. If the judge suspects a bribe, we're done. We need a legal strategy, something that buys us more time to gather evidence. That means we need new leads. If we walk into court with the same old battered arguments, we lose. I blink rapidly, tears threatening. So it all comes down to finding proof that I didn't sabotage that car. We keep saying Trixa's evidence might help, but we have nothing concrete. She nods. Yes. Either we find real hard evidence discrediting the funeral wreath receipts, that toll booth footage, everything, or we roll the dice on a near certain guilty verdict. Jacob stiffens. Trixa was our best shot and she's missing, possibly dead. Margaret winces. I know. I have colleagues sniffing around, but so far no sign of her. I hate to say it, but we might need to prepare for the worst. The room falls silent. My eyes dart to the IV line in my arm. The heart monitor's steady beep. I'm not sure which is more draining. My physical condition or the knowledge that we're rapidly running out of hope. Margaret checks her watch. We have a hearing in 72 hours, give or take. That's the maximum extension the judge is willing to allow for your medical crisis. After that, You either appear in court or they declare you fit by default. I exhale shakily. 72 hours. Barely any time to recover physically, let alone piece together new evidence. Jacob's hand slides over mine, his grip warm and supportive. I cling to that small anchor. Margaret leaves soon after, saying she has motions to file. The door closes on the hush she leaves behind, and I realize how fragile the respite of these past 4 days has been. Jacob and I sit there in silence. The quiet hum of the overhead fluorescent grates on my nerves. Finally, he sets aside the half-finished oatmeal. "Nyla," he begins, voice gentle. "We're not giving up." I swallow back tears. "Jacob, if I'm forced into that courtroom with no new evidence, they'll crucify me. And if the warden yanks me back to prison," I break off, a sob clawing its way up my throat. I'm so afraid of losing this baby in that environment, or delivering behind bars. He pulls me into his arms, pressing a tender kiss to my hair. "You're not letting anyone down, especially not our child. You're fighting. That's all that matters." His voice wavers with emotion. "I promise I won't let them do this to you. If it means confronting your father or tearing the system apart, I will." My tears spill over, hot on my cheeks. "I feel so helpless," I whisper against his chest, inhaling the faint scent of his cologne. All the news channels paint me as a monster. My nightmares? I shudder. I can't sleep without seeing that damn judge's gavel, sentencing me. He cradles the back of my head, letting me sob for a moment. "We'll find a way," he repeats, though desperation tinges his words. "I'm meeting some private investigators in a few hours. Maybe they have leads we haven't followed." We stay like that for a while, his hand stroking my hair softly, my tears dampening his shirt. Despite the heartbreak, there's a warmth in the way he holds me, like I'm not alone in this hell. It's late afternoon when the phone near my bed rings, a jarring sound that spikes my anxiety. Jacob reaches for it, presses it to his ear. "Hello? Yes, this is Stone," he says warily. There's a pause, and I see his expression flick from guarded to shock. "Wait, what?" My chest tightens. I watch him closely. His eyes meet mine, wide with sudden hope. "She's alive?" he blurts. My heart leaps into my throat. He turns to me, hands over the receiver. "They say Trixa's alive, and Derek is with her," he explains breathlessly. "I hired another private investigator just to look for them. They want us to know there's still a chance she might deliver the evidence." I let out a trembling exhale, half laugh, half sob. "She's alive?" I whisper. My mind reels. Trixa was the sole lead who had direct evidence to disprove Marcus's entire sabotage story. If she survived, maybe she still has something that can help me. Jacob nods vigorously, returning to the phone. Yes, we're here," he says, speaking quickly. "I need a location or a contact. I understand? Right. All right. Contact me soon." He hangs up, turning back to me, face lit with more hope than I've seen in days. "They say Trixa and Derek are on the run from mercenaries," he says, breath unsteady. "But they're working to retrieve the data Trixa stashed. We might still get it in time, Nyla." A wave of relief crashes over me, but it's mixed with fear. "They're on the run? That sounds dangerous." He nods, eyes shining with a fierce determination. "Dangerous. But it means we're not out of options. If Trixa recovers enough evidence, we can blow your father's entire framing scheme wide open. And you, my love, won't have to walk into that courtroom empty-handed. Then we will find the killer, which I'm convinced is Marcus." My lips tremble into a tentative smile. The weight on my chest feels slightly lighter. Did they shoot her? I recall. But if she's alive, that's a miracle. Jacob leans in, brushing a tender kiss to my forehead. We have a reason to hope now. Let's focus on getting you stable enough to handle what's coming, because when Trixa contacts us, maybe we can buy the time we need for that evidence to see the light of day. Tears slip down my cheeks, but for once, they're tears of relief instead of pure despair. Yes, I whisper, inhaling shakily. I'm still terrified, but at least we have a lifeline. He cups my face. Yes, we do. So rest. I'll talk to Margaret, see if we can stall the warden's demands another day or two. If Trixa can deliver that evidence soon, it might be enough to keep you out of prison for the rest of the trial. A sob laugh escapes me. One day we'll look back on this and wonder how we survived it, I say, my voice still shaky but tinted with fragile optimism. Jacob's eyes glisten. We'll survive it together, he promises. Then he carefully embraces me, minding the IV line, stroking my hair as thunder rolls faintly in the distance. I let out a long breath, leaning into his warmth. The fear isn't gone. My pregnancy remains precarious. The trial's clock ticks louder each hour, and the media's hateful rumors swirl just outside. But Trixa's survival changes something intangible inside me, like a single lantern lit in a dark corridor. If Derek and Trixa can outrun Orchard meltdown hit squads and piece together that data, maybe my meltdown in court won't be the end of me. I close my eyes, letting the calm of Jacob's heartbeat lull me into a gentler space, just for a moment. Outside this hospital, a storm rages. My father's manipulations, the prosecution's relentless assault, a warden's threat to lock me away again. But in here, for a few precious minutes, I hold on to hope. Our baby deserves that, at least. A small voice inside me whispers that this calm might shatter soon, that the next days will bring fresh battles, but I cling to Jacob's presence. Thank you, I murmur into his shoulder, feeling his arms tighten around me. For what? He murmurs back. For staying, I say simply, eyes burning with tears once more. For fighting when I can't. He kisses my temple and doesn't let go, and we remain that way for a time, letting the fleeting sense of relief bolster us against the looming fight. And though the tears slip down my cheeks, I finally believe we might stand a chance at beating the storm swirling around our fragile, complicated family of 2, and soon 3. You know that feeling when a book pulls you in, wraps around you, and refuses to let go? When the tension is so thick, you swear you can feel it?
Welcome to 30 sinfully addictive romance audiobooks that will ruin your sleep.
Wow, I wasn't ready for this. 1 chapter in, and I'm already hooked.
Oh, you thought this was just another audiobook collection. No, sweetheart. This is the Dirty 30. Forbidden love, dangerous desires, billionaires with secrets, bad boys who bite back. And every last word is dripped in temptation.
I thought I could just listen to 1 chapter before bed. Now it's 2 a.m. and I need answers. Need.
So what are you waiting for? Click the link. Start listening. Let the Dirty 30 ruin you in the best way possible.
Escape your life with Miss Tyla.
Chapter 338. Jacob. I wake to the sound of footsteps echoing in the corridor. That steady, rhythmic tread sets my nerves on edge. It's too purposeful, too deliberate, like a drumbeat of inevitability. We're on day 5 of Nyla's stay at Crestwood Private Hospital, and the warden has been threatening to yank her back to prison any minute now. Every morning since the meltdown in court feels like a fresh countdown to disaster. Shoving stiff shoulders upright in this unforgiving plastic chair, I rub my face, chasing off the last remnants of sleep. I glance at Nyla, who's dozing fitfully in the bed. She's got a pillow propped beneath her belly, an IV drip in her arm, and the faint lines of anxiety etched into her brow even in slumber. the overhead fluorescent hums filling the quiet with a nervous buzz that's hard to ignore. Suddenly, the door to her hospital room flies open. A nurse I don't recognize stands at the threshold, wide-eyed. "Mr. Stone," she blurts. The warden is on his way for Miss Thomas's fitness for trial evaluation. He insisted he must do it now. My stomach flips. Damn it. I launch myself off the chair, ignoring the crack in my spine from sleeping upright. "He's not authorized to," I begin, but the nurse cuts me off with an apologetic shrug. "He says he has a court order, sir." I clench my fists, adrenaline spiking. This is it. The moment we've dreaded. I glance at Nyla, who's stirring awake, blinking in confusion. Her eyes flick to me, noticing my tense posture. "Jacob?" she asks, voice husky with leftover sleep. "What's wrong?" My heart throbs at the sight of her pale cheeks, the gentle curve of her belly under the blanket. She's far too fragile to face this humiliating exam. "The warden is coming," I say flatly, crossing the room in 2 strides to take her hand. "He wants to do a fitness check right now." Fear sparks in her eyes. She sits up, chest heaving. "But I'm not even dressed. I don't want him in here." The nurse fidgets, glancing away as if she regrets bringing the message. "I'll try to stall him," she mutters, then slips out, leaving Nyla and me alone with our rising panic. I squeeze her hand. "Don't worry. I'll block him if I have to." She looks torn between gratitude and dread. "If you cause a scene, it might backfire. They'll claim I'm faking or that you're strong-arming them again." Her expression twists with frustration. God, I hate this. And so do I. I hate the power these people wield, their ability to barge in and measure her up like livestock. But I know she's right. If I physically stop them, the prosecution could spin it as obstruction. My voice drops to a grim whisper. "All right, I'll keep calm. But I'm not letting them hurt you." Nyla inhales shakily, nodding as she rubs her abdomen in slow circles, trying to soothe the tension. My heart clenches seeing how she steadies herself, forging a composure she shouldn't need to muster. Not for these vultures. A minute later, heavy footsteps approach outside, accompanied by a curt female voice. The door swings open, revealing the warden, a stout man in a crisp uniform, his expression set in an air of forced politeness. A second figure, possibly a medical staffer from the prison, trails behind him carrying a clipboard and stethoscope. The warden glances around the room, zeroing in on Nyla as if she's a specimen. "Miss Thomas," he says, making a show of courtesy as he steps in. "Time for our official evaluation. We have to confirm your readiness to return to custody and stand trial." I station myself between him and Nyla's bed. "She's not a criminal to poke and prod at your whim," I snap, voice cold. "She's pregnant, still under physician's orders to rest." "Mr. Stone," the warden says, unimpressed. "The court authorized this. I'll keep it brief." He peers around me. "Miss Thomas, you can cooperate, or we note your refusal." Nyla swallows, forcing a nod. "Fine," she murmurs, though her knuckles whiten as she clutches the blanket. "But I want my doctor present." The warden lifts a hand dismissively. "We'll make do with our staffer. That's all that's required." He motions the prison medic forward. The woman with the clipboard gives a stiff, businesslike nod, not meeting Nyla's eye. "We'll check vitals, ask some questions about your daily functioning." I open my mouth to protest, but Nyla grips my wrist, shaking her head slightly. The silent message. "Don't fight. Not now." My throat burns with helpless anger, but I stand aside, just enough for them to approach her bed, though I hover protectively. The prison medic sets to work with mechanical efficiency. Blood pressure cuff, temperature reading, shining a penlight in Nyla's eyes. Each time Nyla winces or tenses, I want to yank the medic away. The warden scribbles notes, occasionally asking questions in a flat tone. Do you feel capable of walking unassisted for short distances? Have you experienced any dizziness in the past 24 hours? Have you had episodes of fainting? Nyla answers in a shaky voice, occasionally glancing at me for reassurance. The entire scene feels invasive, humiliating. My fists clench at my sides as I watch, powerless to intervene without risking the warden calling security. At one point, he demands to check if Nyla can stand upright for a minute without collapsing. She pushes back the sheets, face flushed with embarrassment, letting me slide an arm around her waist. The warden's gaze flicks to me, but he says nothing. She stands, trembling slightly, and manages to remain upright for those endless 60 seconds. Her eyes glisten with unshed tears when she finally sinks back down. "All right," the warden says, snapping his pen. "We'll submit our report to the judge and your hospital doctor. Expect a decision soon." My blood simmers, but I clamp my jaw tight, refusing to give him the satisfaction of a confrontation. "That's all?" I say curtly. He nods. "Yes. Miss Thomas, we might return for a final check tomorrow. The hearing is in 2 days, so be prepared." He pivots and marches out, prison medic on his heels. The door shuts with a dull thud. Nyla sags against me, burying her face in my shoulder. She lets out a shaky exhale, and I stroke her hair, feeling her tension seep into me. "It's over," I whisper. "For now." She sniffles, pulling away enough to meet my eyes. "I feel so violated," she admits, "like they're measuring me for shackles." My chest tightens. They can measure all they want. Doesn't mean they'll have their way. But the fear in her gaze tells me she isn't reassured, and honestly, neither am I. We're pinned to the wall by the judge's timeline, by the prosecution's onslaught, and now by the warden's push to declare her fit for trial. 2 days, the judge's clerk said. That's how long we have to prepare or watch her get dragged into court, pregnant and half recovered. That afternoon, the judge's clerk calls on Margaret's phone. We have it on speaker so Nyla can listen from bed. The clerk's voice is crisp, no nonsense. "Mr. Stone, Miss Thomas," she says, "the hearing is confirmed for 2 days from now at 10 in the morning. There will be no further extensions unless the warden's or doctor's official statement deems Miss Thomas physically incapable. Understood?" Nyla closes her eyes, massaging the spot above her eyebrow. I rub a hand over my mouth, struggling to keep my composure. "Understood," I reply, ignoring the dryness in my throat. "We'll be there." Click. The line goes dead. The tension in the room ramps up another notch. Margaret, standing at Nyla's bedside, sighs. "We have no illusions. They're ramming us into a corner." Nyla, swallowing, fixes Margaret with a determined glint. "We have a lead, right? Any new evidence to cast doubt on the prosecution's claims?" Margaret hesitates, then nods. "We're hearing rumors. Some leftover data Trixa left behind might be out there. Possibly Orchard meltdown backups or store footages. I'm not sure. But it's partial. Incomplete. If we can just get our hands on it before the hearing." She cuts herself off, noticing my wince. We know Trixa is alive somewhere with Derek, but not how soon they can deliver anything. Nyla's lips quirk in a faint, sad smile. "So we're back to hoping Trixa surfaces in time." Margaret's mouth twists. "Or we find another angle. Actually, an ex-nurse from Stone Hospital came forward an hour ago. She claims she worked with you, Nyla, for months and wants to testify that your character is unimpeachable and that Zara was jealous of you. It might undermine Zara's credibility." My eyebrows arch. "An ex-nurse? Who is she?" Margaret glances at her notepad. "Name's Alicia Reyes. She said you saved her nephew's life once, and she's outraged by how you're being portrayed. She's had run-ins with Zara at Stone Hospital. She says Zara has reason to resent your success. If the court allows her testimony, it could cast doubt on Zara's statements. Because Zara's the one who hammered the final nails in your coffin, claiming you orchestrated everything." Nyla's eyes widen. "Alicia Reyes. I remember her. We were on the same rotation in pediatrics. Zara. Yeah, she was always making barbed remarks about me, complaining how I got recognized by the board for my compassion. I never paid it much mind, but maybe Alicia saw more than I did. Margaret nods. It's a start. A direct rebuttal that Zara's testimony might be tainted by personal grudges. She flips a page in her notes. Also, we have a forensics expert who's stepping up to challenge the funeral wreath receipt. He claims the signature or digital timestamp is tampered with. And, this is big, they found a store's CCTV footage from the day the wreath was allegedly purchased. They see no footage of you present, Nyla, no one who looks even close. So if the prosecution claimed you personally walked in and bought it, that's questionable. Nyla grips the bedsheet. They might say I sent a friend to buy it. Margaret's lips press into a thin line. Yes, they're likely to pivot, but remember the prosecution's official stance has always been that you physically purchased that wreath. If they pivot now, it shows inconsistency. The judge might question that. A flicker of hope stirs in my chest. So, we have Alicia Reyes vouching for Nyla's integrity, and a forensics expert disputing the funeral wreath claim. That's not everything, but it's significant. Margaret nods, though her smile remains wary. It might be enough to erode some of their certainty. Combine that with any Orchard meltdown data Trixa or Derek can produce, and we stand a real chance. Nyla's eyes flutter closed, relief and anxiety tangling. Thank God for Alicia. I never even thought she'd speak up for me. Margaret gives a gentle shrug. Desperation reveals allies we didn't know we had. But we'll take every advantage we can get. I'll see if the judge allows her testimony. The prosecution will fight it, but we'll push hard. With that, she collects her notepad, offers a fleeting smile. I have more calls to make. Hang in there, you two. Then she steps out, leaving a hush in her wake. The hush stands for a moment before I turn to Nyla, noticing the slight trembling in her hands. She's still reeling from the earlier confrontation with the warden and the looming hearing. My chest aches, seeing her so vulnerable. I clear my throat, forcing a gentler tone. Hey, want me to bring something a bit nicer than bland oatmeal? Maybe some fresh soup or fruit from outside? I offer a half smile. I could set up a little date night here, minus the romantic candles. Nyla's lips twitch upward, though her eyes gleam with tears. You do that for me? I cradle her cheek. I'd do anything for you. Let me find something that's healthy for the baby, but also not hospital gray mush. She sniffles a soft laugh, nodding. Okay, well, I'd like that. I gently press a kiss to her forehead. Rest. I'll be back soon. It doesn't take long. I slip out to a local organic cafe, snagging a to-go container of veggie soup, fresh bread, and a small container of cut fruit. I hustle back to Crestwood, half paranoid about paparazzi, but manage to slip in through a side entrance with minimal fuss. Up in Nyla's room, I set up the tray on her bedside table. She lets out a quiet gasp at the aroma. It smells like normal life, she murmurs, eyes misting. I forgot how good that can be. I help her sit up, adjusting pillows behind her. Then I unfold the takeout containers. The steam rises, carrying the comforting scent of herbs. I pop a piece of bread in my mouth, then tear another piece for her, feeling an odd swirl of domestic warmth in the middle of this chaos. She sips the soup, moaning softly at the taste. Thank you, she whispers. Sometimes I forget we can still have moments like this. The trial overshadowed everything. I settle in the chair next to her bed, leaning close enough to rest a hand on her belly, feeling the subtle flutter. My throat constricts with emotion. We won't let them overshadow the rest of our lives, Nyla. I half laugh, blinking away tears. We'll share actual dinner dates someday, ones that aren't in a hospital room. She meets my gaze, her eyes shining with cautious hope. I want that, she says. I want a normal life with you, raising our baby. No cameras, no bars, just us. I stroke a strand of hair from her forehead. Then let's survive these next 2 days. It's all we need. Some cracks in the prosecution's story, Trixa or Derek's data, and you stable enough to endure that hearing. We can do it. She sets down the soup, voice trembling. But even if we do, the prosecution might leak more fake evidence. They did it once. They'll do it again. Right on cue, my phone pings from the bedside. I unlock the screen to see a text from a contact. New evidence leaked. Some doc claiming Nyla threatened William and Hilda. Media is roaring. My stomach churns. Speak of the devil, I mutter, scanning the text. They leaked a letter or a video, I'm not sure. Either way, they're claiming you threatened them. Nyla's breath hitches. Threaten them? That's insane! I fling the phone on the side table, heart thumping with anger. I'll go see what that's about. This is the prosecution's tactic. Fake nonsense to sway public opinion. Nyla rubs her arms like she's cold. That's what they do best, I guess. I stand, fists clenching. Stay here. I'll talk to the nurse's station TV or find Margaret. We can't let them spin this unchallenged. Just as I storm toward the hallway, I glimpse a few reporters in the corridor, cameras at the ready. One sees me, surging forward with a microphone. Mr. Stone, care to comment on the letter proving Nyla threatened your parents? Rage blinds me for a second. I slam my palm into the camera lens, nearly knocking it from the reporter's grip. Get that out of my face! I snarl, every muscle in my body coiled. The reporter stumbles back, shock on their face. Another flash goes off, capturing the moment. Great. More fodder for the tabloids. But I can't bring myself to regret it. My blood roars with protective fury. A hospital guard intervenes, telling the reporter to back off. I spin on my heel, returning to Nyla's room, my heart hammering in my ears. She's pale, hands bunched in the blanket. Jacob? She whispers, seeing the fury on my face. I exhale shakily, forcing composure. They're out there claiming you wrote some letter threatening my parents. I almost destroyed a camera. The guard stepped in. My voice cracks with anger. I'm sorry. She closes her eyes. I hate this so much. I slump in the chair, raking both hands through my hair. Margaret will handle it, I murmur. But we might face an avalanche of negativity. The letter is probably doctored, but the public loves a sensational angle. She nods, tears brimming. Let them throw everything they have, she says softly. We just have to hold on. We do just that for the rest of the day, clinging to each other through wave after wave of hateful coverage. On the local news, a talking head brandishes a printout of the alleged letter, speculating how the Black Widow nurse was plotting the downfall of Stone family. My blood boils, but we can't do much except cling to the truth. Late that night, the hospital corridor settles into an eerie quiet. Nyla's drifting off after a minor panic attack triggered by yet another vile headline. I brush a tender kiss over her forehead, ignoring the sour taste of helplessness. Then my phone vibrates, startling me. An unknown number. My heart jumps. This could be Trixa or Derek. I answer quietly. Hello? A low voice on the other end. Jacob, it's Derek. Relief floods me, but his tone is tense. We're on the move, me and Trixa. We have something big that can blow the prosecution's claims apart, but we're chased by mercenaries. Footsteps or rustling fill the background. We need a secure meet. Soon. Adrenaline spikes in my veins. I duck into the hallway so Nyla won't wake. Tell me where, I demand. We'll get you protection, a safe house. Can't talk now, he cuts in, voice urgent. We'll text you a location. It's risky, but it's the only shot. Trixa's badly injured, but she's stubborn as hell. She wants to personally deliver the evidence. Keep your phone close. Before I can respond, the line crackles and goes dead. I stare at the phone, heart pounding with renewed hope. Evidence that might annihilate the prosecution's new smear campaign might scuttle the faked letter entirely. Stepping back into the room, I find Nyla stirring. She looks at me with confusion. Who was it? She asks, her voice hushed with dread. I approach her bedside, eyes blazing with determination. "Derek," I say, voice shaking. "They have something that could prove you never threatened my parents, never sabotaged anything. They're on the run, but they want to meet. Soon." Nyla's eyes widen. "That's incredible, but dangerous." I nod, heart hammering. "They're being chased, possibly by Orchard Meltdown mercenaries or my father's old watchers. I don't know. We only have 2 days left until the hearing." I gently take her hand. "This is our best chance. I'll handle it. You just focus on staying calm. If we can show up in court with actual proof, no more illusions, we can crack this entire case open." She swallows, tears glinting. "Just be careful," she pleads. "I can't lose you on top of everything else." I cradle her cheek, leaning in to brush my lips over hers. The kiss is soft, but charged with desperation. "I promise," I murmur against her mouth. "I'll be careful. I'll do whatever it takes to keep you safe." She closes her eyes, tears slipping free. I can almost feel the fear rolling off her. Fear that I'll vanish into the night, that the Orchard Meltdown fiasco or mercenaries will claim me too. But beneath that fear, there's a flicker of hope. She's holding on, just like I am. I linger by her bed, letting her lean against my chest, listening to the steady beep of the monitor. Tomorrow might bring the warden's final verdict on her fitness or more twisted allegations from the prosecution. But if Derek and Trixa can deliver what they promise, we might show the world Nyla is no murderer, no Black Widow nurse. She's just the woman I love, caught in a sinister net of lies. My phone dings again, this time a text from an unknown number. "Tomorrow night, abandoned warehouse off Pier 6. Come alone." My pulse spikes. The risk is sky high, but I see no alternative. As I pocket the phone, I straighten, meeting Nyla's gaze. She reads the determination in my eyes, and her lips tremble. "You have to do it," she whispers, "and I have to let you. We're out of time." I run a hand through her hair, forcing a steady nod. "I'll meet them, get the evidence, come back here. Then we go to court with the truth. Margaret can handle the rest." She offers a shaky smile, even as worry etches her face. "Then we win," she says, voice trembling on that last word. "Then we win," I echo softly, not daring to voice the countless ways it could go wrong. Mercenaries, Orchard Meltdown threats, Trixa's injuries. This could all end in tragedy. But I refuse to let that fear paralyze me. I lean over to press one last kiss to her forehead. "Try to sleep," I urge. "Tomorrow might be the biggest day of our lives." She nods, swallowing. "I love you," she murmurs, words thick with emotion. "I love you too," I answer, letting the warmth of her confession steal my spine. By this time tomorrow, I'll be out there, chasing salvation for her name, for our unborn child's future. My heart pounds at the magnitude of it, but I refuse to back down. For now, I ease back into the chair by her bed, slipping my hand into hers. The hush in the hospital corridor returns, and the lights overhead hum with unwavering intensity. Nyla drifts off eventually, exhaustion overpowering her anxiety. I stay awake, my mind racing with possible scenarios for tomorrow's covert meeting. Armed mercenaries, a battered Trixa, a desperate Derek. But if we pull it off, we can storm that courtroom with unstoppable proof. No more twisted allegations, no more humiliations. As the night deepens, I watch Nyla's steady breathing and let the fierce protectiveness for her burn inside me. We have 2 days. 2 days to break the prosecution's monstrous lies. 2 days to keep our baby out of a prison nursery. 2 days to bring Derek and Trix's evidence into the light. I vow silently to see it through, whatever the cost. We're cornered but not crushed. If the Orchard Meltdown fiasco taught me anything, it's that we can survive chaos. And if the warden or the prosecution wants a fight, they'll get one. Tomorrow I'll meet Derek. Risk be damned. Because for Nyla, for our child, there's no other choice.
He's the mysterious man I had a fling with last night, and it turns out he's my dad's new boss.
I was getting IVF, but the donor came in and wanted his stuff back. It was too late. Now we're stuck together and I'm having his baby.
Ready to dive into a world where passion meets intrigue, where love knows no bounds.
If I don't find a woman to marry in the next 24 hours, then my entire company is going to be taken from me. There's only one woman I can ask, but she hates me because I ruined her father.
Introducing the Escape Your Life with Romance Book Bundle by Amazon best-selling author Nyla Walker, a collection of 100 standalone romances that promised to sweep you off your feet.
And the best part?
Get 90% off on the whole bundle, baby.
For $99.99, you'll get over 800 hours of pure romance with strong alpha males and sassy women who don't back down.
They can pass all the tariffs they want, ladies. But you won't find this deal for 100 audiobooks for less than $1 each anywhere else.
90 cents per book for all the dirty fun I can handle? How could I say no to that?
Visit TylaWalker.com to grab this bundle today.
Get ready to escape your life
with Miss Nyla.
Chapter 339, Lori. I slump over a chipped plastic tray in the hospital cafeteria, hands wrapped around a coffee that's already gone lukewarm. Another double shift. My back aches, feet throb, and all I want is to slip away into the nearest corner and cry, not just from physical exhaustion, though that's part of it, but from the swirling mess of emotions crowding my mind like a raging storm. My phone sits on the table, screen dark. No messages, no missed calls. I lift it every few minutes, checking out of habit, hoping to see a notification from Alexander, hoping that maybe, just maybe, he's reached out with something. A text, a single line telling me he's alive or that he still cares. But it's been days since I last heard his voice, longer than that since I actually saw him in person. I stare at the phone until my vision blurs. Then I sigh, forcing myself to take a sip of coffee that tastes stale. The overhead lights cast a harsh yellow glare on the worn linoleum floors, illuminating other nurses hunched at nearby tables, scarfing down quick meals before rushing back to their shifts. Typically, I'd join them in idle chatter, maybe lighten the mood. But not today. Today, I'm hollowed out. Just a shell of the nurse who used to smile for patients and keep everyone's spirits up. Tough shift again, Lori. A friend calls from 2 tables over. She's half hidden behind a stack of charts, eyes ringed with her own brand of fatigue. Normally I'd wave or toss back a sassy remark, but I can't muster it. I manage a weak nod and return to my silent vigil. The cafeteria's fluorescent hum presses on my ears, making me feel caged, as if the entire hospital is closing in. Then, out of nowhere, a coworker named Hannah drops into the seat opposite me, brandishing a phone with her brow furrowed. "Hey, you see this headline?" she says, flipping the screen so I can read. "They're calling Nyla the Black Widow nurse. So messed up, right?" My pulse flutters. Nyla, my best friend, the sister I never had. She's stuck at Crestwood Private Hospital fighting for her life and that of her unborn child, while the tabloids devour her story and spit out vile rumors. Leaning forward, I scan the headline, "Nurse from Stone Hospital accused of family murder, fakes pregnancy to gain sympathy." It's accompanied by a paparazzi shot of her face, eyes puffy, tears glinting. My stomach knots violently. "Disgusting," I murmur, pushing the phone away. "It's all lies. She'd never harm anyone. She's a better nurse than half of us combined." Hannah shrugs, setting her phone down. "The tabloids don't care about facts. They want a juicy villain. But there's more." She swipes her screen again. Something about the orchard fiasco, some big shootout that Trixa Swan was involved in. She squints at the text. They mention big names, something about old money or mafia ties. Crazy, right? Hearing the mention of Trixa's name sets my nerves on edge. I recall fragments Nyla told me about Trixa's disappearance, how it nearly destroyed everything. It was rumored Trixa was gathering evidence for Nyla's defense, but ended up in a shootout. And I recall Alexander, my chest tightens at the memory of him referencing family complications and shady ties. A swirl of dread creeps up my spine. Did he get involved in that? I push away from the table, coffee forgotten. I need some air, I tell Hannah, forcing a quick smile. Thanks for showing me. She watches me go, concern flickering in her eyes, but I don't stick around to reassure her. Outside the cafeteria, the hallway bustles with patients and staff. Monitors beep from every corner, pages crackle over the intercom. It's a typical day in the hospital, except I feel like an outsider in my own department. I slip into an empty supply closet for a moment of solitude, pulling out my phone again. Still no messages. My chest aches. With trembling fingers, I type a quick text to Alexander. Are you okay? Haven't heard from you in days. Worried sick? Please answer. I hesitate, then hit send. It is marked as delivered, but I've been down this road. No response. Ever since he took over his family's business, calls are sporadic at best, lately total silence. Pain flares behind my sternum. Maybe he's ghosting me to protect me, or maybe he's ghosting me because I'm not worth the trouble. My mind's an echo chamber of self-doubt. Shaking my head, I quell the tears that threaten. There's no time to break down, not while Nyla languishes at Crestwood, accused of murdering the Stone family, not when she needs a friend who's stable. And so I decide I'll go to Crestwood. I've avoided it for fear of the warden's restrictions, for fear of stepping into that swirl of drama, but I can't ignore my best friend's plight. I'll find a way to slip past security. If I can't hear from Alexander, at least I can see Nyla, and maybe I can glean a clue about where Alexander stands in all this mess. The orchard fiasco threads might link to him. I ditch the rest of my shift at the first chance. My guilt surges, nurses are short-handed, but my mind can't focus on another round with patients when the woman I love like a sister is in crisis. I trade scrubs for a jacket and slip into the late afternoon drizzle outside. The sky hangs low, heavy with unspent rain. Typical gloom for such a heavy day. By the time I hail a cab and arrive at Crestwood Private, it's early evening. Reporters and cameras still linger near the entrance, waiting for any morsel about the Black Widow nurse. My gut twists at how they pounce on tragedy. I keep my head down, letting my hair fall across my face, hoping no one recognizes me from Stone Hospital. A guard at the main doors stops me, suspicious. Only authorized visitors and staff, he says, eyeing me warily. I produce my nurse ID lying through my teeth. I'm from the main hospital staff, here for a professional consultation. Ms. Thomas is an ex-colleague. I have documents for her care. The half-truth slides off my tongue, my heart pounding. The guard stares at me a moment too long, then yields with a grunt, letting me pass. Inside, the hush is more oppressive than my own hospital. The floors gleam, the walls are pristine white, and every corridor smells faintly of antiseptic and hush money. I follow signs to the ward where Nyla's room is rumored to be. Approaching, I see a uniformed guard in the hallway. My pulse quickens. Another blockade? But as I near, the guard's phone buzzes and he steps aside for a call, turning his back briefly. My chance. I slip down the hall and knock softly on the door with Nyla's nameplate. No one answers, so I push it open. I find Nyla half sitting in bed, an IV drip in her arm. She looks pale, cheeks hollow from stress, but her eyes spark with recognition when she sees me. She sets aside a plastic meal tray, her posture stiffening. "Lori?" She gasps, tears filling her eyes. How did you get in? I rush to her, gently embracing her shoulders, mindful of the tubes. I had to see you, I murmur, swallowing the lump in my throat. I'm so sorry, Nyla. She clings to me for a heartbeat, then leans back against the pillows. Her hair's pulled into a messy bun, and I can see the lines of worry etched around her mouth. Jacob's off talking to Margaret. I'm just so happy that they let him stay from time to time, she says. They're finalizing something for the hearing. I nod, pulling up a chair. Everyone's talking about you, I whisper, voice trembling with anger. They're calling you a murderer, a gold digger. It's insane. I saw the tabloids. It's all so cruel. She shudders, pressing a hand to her belly. They want a spectacle, and I guess I'm it, she murmurs. Then she glances at me, eyes narrowing. You look exhausted. Are you okay? Am I okay? My chest tightens as I think of Alexander's silence. I'm worried about you, I say evasively, forcing a thin smile. I'm working back-to-back shifts, but I can't shake this anxiety about you, about everything. My voice falters. She reaches for my hand. You can't carry all of it alone, she says softly, voice brimming with empathy, even in her battered state. Tears threaten, but I blink them away. Nyla, I also worry about Alexander, I admit, biting my lip. He's gone radio silent. You told me how Orchard's shootout might link to Trixa and shady men. Did he take part in that? Or did he have another problem? I'm afraid he's in trouble, or maybe he's shutting me out for my own good. I don't know. The kidnapping. Was it resolved? I take a deep breath, my leg shaking. Nyla's face grows grim. Jacob mentioned watchers. Possibly Alexander placed them around me weeks ago. Something about keeping me safe from external threats. If that's true, it means Alexander's heavily involved in some. She trails off, wincing at my stricken expression. I'm so sorry, Lori. I wish I had clearer answers. Anger flares in my chest. So watchers for you, but none for me, or no explanation for me? Is he just using me to maintain an alliance with Jacob and you? The words come out harsher than I intend. I regret it instantly, seeing Nyla flinch. I'm sorry, I rush on. I didn't mean. I'm just frustrated. If Alexander's risking his life, I deserve to know why. She squeezes my fingers. Jacob tries to shield me from the worst, so I guess Alexander might do the same for you. It's not fair to either of us. Emotion surges in me, heartbreak, confusion, a fierce desire to help. He could at least text, I whisper, voice cracking. Let me decide if I want to be part of his life or not. My chest aches with longing for the man who once promised me the world, who now hides in shadows. Before Nyla can respond, the door swings open again. Jacob steps in, stopping short when he sees me. Lori, he says, eyebrows lifting in surprise. I didn't realize you were here. I stand crossing my arms. They tried to stop me, but I had to see her. This is still my best friend. Doesn't matter if some warden or tabloid says otherwise. He nods, setting down a manila folder. I'm glad you're here, actually. He flicks a concerned glance to Nyla, who's leaning back, looking wiped out from the emotional strain. Then he focuses on me. But you shouldn't get too entangled for your own safety. Alexander's circle is complicated. My pulse quickens. So he's in deeper trouble than I thought? I demand. Is that Orchard fiasco nonsense dragging him under, or is it something else? My voice trembles. The swirl of fear and anger melding. Jacob grimaces. I only know bits and pieces. He's deep underwater in his family. Alexander might be connected. He also made certain arrangements to keep watchers near Nyla. Possibly watchers for you too, at some point. But it's hush-hush. He sighs. He's not ignoring you out of apathy, Lori. My guess is he's silent to protect you. The explanation should calm me, but it triggers a swirl of contradictory emotions. Protect me from what? This nightmare is already destroying everything. I can't even do my normal shifts without hearing people slander Nyla. and Alexander's just vanished. My voice cracks on the last word, tears stinging my eyes. I hate feeling powerless. Jacob's expression softens, though he looks equally burdened. I get it, he says, resting a hand on my shoulder. But trust me, Alexander has reason to keep his distance, especially if he's wrapped up in a nest of vipers. He never wanted you to be a target. Nyla exhales a shaky breath. We're all entangled, she murmurs. Zara's testimony pinned me to the wall, and Alicia is stepping up to defend me. Meanwhile, the orchard shootout might blow up again if Trixa reappears. None of us are safe on the sidelines. I sink back into the chair, burying my face in my hands for a moment. The weight is crushing. My best friend possibly facing life in prison, my love interest drifting in the shadows of some dangerous empire, and me stuck in the middle, unsure how to help. My phone vibrates again, probably a staff alert from my own hospital. I ignore it, no longer caring about the shift scheduling. Jacob touches Nyla's wrist gently. Margaret found a forensics expert to challenge the funeral wreath receipt. They might have exonerating footage from the store's CCTV showing you never went there. That's something. We also have Alicia Reyes, the ex-nurse, to testify about your character and blow holes in Zara's story. It might be enough to cast doubt. Nyla nods, relief and stress battling in her eyes. Thank God, and Trixa might bring more evidence. If that evidence is real, the prosecution's entire narrative could fall apart. I watch them exchange determined looks. So you do have hope, I say softly, tears pricking my eyes again. I'm glad. I force a smile, though it trembles. I just wish I knew where that leaves me and Alexander. Jacob hesitates, glancing at the hallway as if double-checking no one's eavesdropping. Lori, if you want my honest opinion, I suspect Alexander has watchers around you too. Subtle, maybe. He might be ensuring no one drags you into the crossfire, but I can't confirm. He's hush even with me sometimes. That revelation sparks a flicker of both anger and relief. So he's controlling my safety from a distance? I press my lips together in frustration. What if I want to be informed? Want to help? Nyla attempts a small, rueful smile. We all want to help, but the men in our lives think secrecy is the best shield. Not that it's working well, she adds bitterly, gesturing at her hospital bed, the IV line that anchors her. Look where secrecy got me. We sit in a tense hush, the beeping monitors accenting each heartbeat. I notice how pale Nyla's knuckles are, how Jacob's hands tremble when he rubs his face. They're both fighting nightmares, but their love for each other is unwavering. It reminds me painfully of what I yearn for with Alexander, a love that might endure storms, but how can it when he keeps me in the dark? My phone buzzes again. I glance down expecting a hospital shift text. Instead, it's an unlisted number. My heart leaps. Could it be? I accept the call, pressing it to my ear. Hello? A pause, then a male voice, low and urgent, but not Alexander. Lori? This is Dimitri, Alexander's associate. My pulse spikes at the mention of his name. I recall Alexander once referencing Dimitri, a trusted man in his circle. He asked me to reach out. This line is secure. My breath catches. Jacob and Nyla both perk up, noticing my shift in demeanor. Where's Alexander? I whisper, trying not to let tears break my voice. Dimitri's tone is measured. He's busy handling a crucial matter. He wants you to know he's safe, but he can't contact you directly. We worry about phone taps, potential enemies who might use you as leverage. He told me to pass on a request. Meet him tomorrow evening. We will text you the address, if you're willing. My heart thunders. A part of me leaps at the chance to see him, hold him. Another part shrinks from the danger. Is it safe? I manage, my hand clammy on the phone. What if it's a trap? Dmitri lets out a short sigh. He'd never trap you. He's taking precautions, but yes, it's risky. Up to you. He also said if you prefer to remain out of this, no one will blame you. You're free to ignore the invitation. Tears gather in my eyes. He's giving me an out, I murmur, blinking rapidly. But that means losing him, doesn't it? Dmitri doesn't answer, but silence is answer enough. Finally, he says, "Think carefully. If you come, you might get tangled deeper in his affairs." My stomach churns. "I'll think about it," I whisper. "Thank you." He ends the call without further pleasantries. I lower the phone slowly, chest hammered by 1,000 conflicting emotions. Jacob looks at me questioningly, so does Nyla. "It was Dmitri," I explain, voice hollow. "Alexander's man. He wants me to meet Alexander tomorrow night. They're going to tell me the address tomorrow. Says it's my choice. No pressure." Nyla's eyes fill with sympathetic tears. "Oh, Lori," she says softly, "what are you going to do?" I can't form an answer immediately. I rub my tired eyes, mind spinning. If I go, I might get sucked into his underworld drama. If I don't, I lose any chance of bridging this gap between us. I love him, but I'm terrified. Jacob steps closer, placing a hand gently on my shoulder. "I can't tell you what to do, but Alexander's no ordinary man. If you meet him, you might learn truths that can't be unlearned. Are you ready?" Emotions swirl, roil. I recall the nights Alexander held me, whispering sweet words, the promise in his dark eyes. If he's risking so much to keep me safe, maybe I owe him a chance to let me decide my fate. My lips tremble. "Yes," I say finally, voice trembling with a mixture of resolve and fear. "I need to see him, even if it's dangerous." Nyla manages a faint smile, though tears slip down her cheeks. "You're braver than me," she murmurs, brushing at the wetness. "I hope it's everything you need it to be." I sink onto her bed, hugging her carefully, mindful of the IV line. "I hope your hearing yields the truth," I say, voice thick with emotion, "and that Trixa or Alicia or whoever tears the prosecution's lies apart. Meanwhile, I guess I'll take my own leap into a different kind of storm." She nods, exhaling shakily. We're all jumping off cliffs, it seems. A flash of humorless laughter escapes her. One big telenovela. Jacob cracks the faintest smile at that. "Then let's hope we get a happy ending," he says softly, though I see the tension lining his face. We all do. We're on a collision course with unstoppable forces, from criminals to vengeful prosecutors and cunning father figures pulling strings, but we cling to each other anyway, the only anchor in the madness. I leave them after sharing one last comforting exchange. The corridor's quiet, but I hurry out, not wanting to risk running into the warden or the prison staff. Outside, the drizzle has become full-blown rain. I hail a cab, sinking into the back seat with a swirl of relief and dread. My phone weighs heavily in my pocket, the conversation with Dmitri echoing. The mental countdown ticks just like Nyla's hearing clock. The thought of seeing Alexander again churns my stomach with a mix of longing and fear. Has he changed his belief of keeping me in the dark? Has he grown darker or more distant? Will I even recognize the man I fell in love with? Despite the gnawing uncertainty, my heart stirs with hope, because if he's calling me, it means he hasn't abandoned me altogether. Something in him still wants me close, or at least wants me to choose whether to stand by him. Maybe we can salvage what we had. Maybe love can flourish even under the shadow of danger. As the cab snakes through rain-lashed streets, I press my hand to my chest, feeling my heart's frantic beat. I vow to keep stepping forward, for Nyla and for me. The danger might overshadow everything. The trial might bury Nyla, and Alexander's secrets might threaten my safety. But if I cower now, I'll never forgive myself. I glance out the window, city lights smearing across wet glass. In the hush of the cab's interior, I brush away a tear, forging my resolve. Hold on, Alexander. I murmur under my breath, voice barely audible. I'm coming for answers, no matter the cost.
You think you can catch me? You think you can tame me?
Oh, I know I can. And you know it too, baby.
I gotta tell you, you're not the first to try.
But don't worry, baby. I'll be the last.
With sass like that, maybe I'll be the one that needs to tame you.
Let's cut to the chase, big boy. What you selling me?
Your appetite is big AF. I have just the thing that'll satisfy you.
Oh, really? And what's that?
Over 120 hours of romance audiobooks. Brought to you by Tyler Walker Romances in the Big AF Audio Bundle.
120 hours? That sounds amazing.
Your knees won't work afterwards if I do my job right.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Well, I can keep this promise. Because these audiobooks are unabridged with all the spicy scenes that will make you put your earbuds on. You know, Tyler can get freaky because she marked the bundle down by 69% for a limited time.
I can't wait to take this bundle for a ride.
Visit TylerWalker.com and get this audio bundle. Just don't start listening if you're going to be cooking dinner. Because you might just forget to feed your family.
TylerWalker.com. Escape your life with Tyler.
Chapter 3, 140. Jacob. I rub my arms against the late-night chill as I stand beneath the old footbridge, trying to ignore the faint smell of algae drifting up from the dark water. A single overhead lamp flickers, casting jittery pools of light across the pitted asphalt. The entire place is deserted except for my car parked a few strides away, engine cold. The stillness presses in on me, along with a hum of panic that won't quit. I can't stop pacing back and forth, scuffing the worn soles of my shoes on the wet ground. Everything depends on tonight. If Trixa and Derek don't appear, or if something's happened to them, we can kiss any hope of exonerating Nyla goodbye. Once the trial resumes, the prosecution will have all the ammunition they need to bury her, and she's in no state to fight them alone. My phone buzzes. I snatch it out, hoping for a sign they're close. Derek's name appears in the messaging app. We're close. Had to ditch the old route. Someone's following us. My pulse spikes. I hurry to text back. Are you safe? Where? But no answer. They're likely focused on avoiding detection. Trixa's text earlier had been blunt. We have the evidence. Meet us at the footbridge. Don't be late. That was 2 hours ago. She's still healing from her bullet wound, yet risking everything to get here. Derek is her only real backup. We're out of time if we want to save Nyla. A light drizzle begins to fall, clinging to my hair and jacket. I keep glancing around, scanning for any movement. This old footbridge leads to a cluster of boarded-up shops. Nobody comes here at this hour. Ideal for a clandestine exchange, but also for an ambush. The tension swirling in my chest climbs higher. My gaze catches on a black SUV idling near an abandoned bus stop. Its windows are tinted pitch black, and no one has gotten out. Could it be Marcus's people? I check my watch. Another 5 minutes scrape by before I spot movement at the chain-link fence on the far side of the lot. Two silhouettes duck through a gap, one leaning heavily on the other. Relief hits me like a punch, but so does dread. Trix is apparently badly hurt. I hurry across the rain-slick asphalt. Derek is practically carrying Trixa, who winces with every step. Even in the dim light, I see the blood seeping through a bandage on her shoulder. Her face looks gaunt. You're late, I whisper, scanning behind them for any sign of pursuers. What happened? Trixa looks up, eyes glazed from pain. Ran into a couple of Marcus's men, she says, voice trembling with anger. We shook them, but not before they clipped my shoulder again. Derek nods. We changed routes 3 times. They must have known we'd come here, but we lost them for now. He glances around warily, dropping his voice. We need to do this fast. I inhale shakily, half expecting a squad of gunmen to pop out from the shadows. Is that black SUV over there part of Marcus's group? I nod toward the suspicious vehicle. Trix's eyes flick toward it. Could be. We can't linger. She clutches a small USB in her uninjured hand. This is the data. Enough to prove Nyla's innocent, and Marcus forged half the sabotage claims. My heart thuds with renewed hope. Thank God, I manage. We'll get it to Margaret. Once it's authenticated, Nyla's out of danger. Trixa tries to hand over the USB, but Derek intervenes. Let's give Jacob a peek so he knows we're legit. If we get jumped, he can at least confirm it's real. He produces a battered laptop, scuffed from whatever chase they endured. Trixa slumps onto a low concrete ledge, wincing. She plugs in the USB, teeth clenched. Rain taps against the asphalt. My nerves feel like live wires. Here, she murmurs, tapping on a folder. Receipts, communication logs, the works. Enough to bury Marcus if we can present it properly. A quick glance at the flickering files confirms it's no bluff. We need to get you somewhere safe, I say, turning to Trixa, who looks ready to pass out. You're bleeding. She shakes her head stubbornly. I'll live. We can't stay here. Her eyes snap past me, scanning the darkness. I don't like this. Before I can answer, headlights arc across the lot. My pulse spikes as the black SUV roars to life and rolls forward. Its doors swing open. Marcus steps out, hair slicked from the drizzle, wearing a dark suit like he's at some twisted gala. My entire body goes rigid. What do we have here? Marcus says, voice laced with mock warmth. Trixa! I should have guessed. Derek tenses, shifting protectively beside Trixa. I see her face go white. She grips the USB tighter, refusing to relinquish it. Marcus sweeps his gaze over us, sighing with exaggerated pity. Turn on your own father for these people, Trix? You're half dead, wounded, still dragging yourself around to feed them stolen files. Better than living under your thumb, Trixa snaps, though fear quivers through her voice. Marcus's lips curl with mild amusement. Oh, Trix, did you think I wouldn't catch you eventually? With unsettling speed, he lunges closer. I see Trixa's side holster. She tries to recoil, but he's too fast. He yanks the gun from her holster before she can protest. What the hell? I roar, moving forward, but Marcus jerks the weapon free. He pins Trixa with a cold stare. You forced my hand. In a heartbeat, he fires the gun into his own arm. A thunderous crack shatters the night. Trixa lets out a raw scream as Marcus staggers back, red blooming on his sleeve. The sheer insanity of it paralyzes me. Did Trixa shoot him? No, he shot himself. My mouth falls open. Marcus clutches his arm, dropping to one knee, wincing dramatically. She's insane! He bellows, pointing the bleeding wound at Trixa. She just shot me! My own daughter's lost her mind! Trixa's eyes blaze with shock and fury. You maniac! She hisses, trembling. You fired the gun yourself! He collapses against the SUV, letting out a moan. Somebody help me! Trixa's gone crazy! His voice reverberates under the footbridge, echoing off the damp concrete. I glance at Derek, who's just as stunned. You lying bastard, he shouts at Marcus. You think you can frame her like this? Marcus's expression warps into something twisted. She threatened me, you all saw it. She had the gun in her hand. I had no choice but to come here and reason with her. He throws in a theatrical groan of pain, then waves for his men, who are now piling out of the SUV. Some are armed, others holding out phones, possibly snapping photos or calling in backup. Down! I yell at Trixa just as multiple headlights blaze from behind. Another car screeches into the lot, more of Marcus's heavies streaming out with weapons drawn. We're surrounded, pinned. My heart hammers. Trixa looks about to faint. Derek stares them down, fists clenched. Marcus glares at Trixa. Look what you've done, he says, voice dripping with mock grief. You forced me into this. Now my men know you've shot me. You're finished. With that, he levels Trixa's stolen gun again, this time at Derek. Anyone moves, he dies. Marcus, don't! I choke out. He fires anyway. The muzzle flash blinds me. Derek gasps, staggering back with a gruesome wound in his side. He collapses to his knees, clutching his shirt, blood soaking through his fingers. Trixa screams Derek's name, lunging toward him. Marcus's men grab her arms, nearly dislocating her injured shoulder. I see the terror in Derek's eyes as he pitches forward, trying to stifle the bleeding. My stomach lurches. Trixa tries to rush to him, but the guards wrench her away. The USB is still clutched in Trixa's hand, though her grip is failing. Marcus steps over Derek's prone form, stooping to pry the USB from Trixa's trembling grip. He's smirking through the pain of his self-inflicted injury. You forced me to do this, he growls, voice tight. Did you think I'd just let you run around with these files? I force myself into action, tackling the guard nearest me. We tumble to the asphalt. Another man slams a rifle butt into my back, driving the wind from my lungs. I lurch up, ignoring the agony, scanning for Derek. He's on the ground, half conscious, a slick pool of blood spreading under him. Trixa is pinned, tears streaming as Marcus rips the USB free. She tries one last desperate tug, but her strength flags. Marcus yanks the drive away triumphantly. That's enough, he hisses. You're done here! A wail tears from Trixa's throat. Marcus raises the gun again, pointing it at me. My breath catches, expecting a bullet. But in the next instant, fresh headlights flare across the lot, and more vehicles screech to a halt. A wave of armed figures pours out, their weapons glinting. Alexander at the forefront, tension rolling off him. Marcus sneers at the new arrivals. So you brought Alexander too? Such a party. Alexander's men fan out. Drop the gun, Marcus, Alexander shouts, tone lethal. This ends now. Marcus's expression sours. Or you'll do what exactly? If any of you so much as blink, I'll finish them off. He brandishes the weapon. Trixa is half in tears. Derek moans on the asphalt, and I'm pinned under a guard's knee, chest heaving. Enough, Alexander growls, stepping closer. You've made a mess, shooting yourself to pin the blame on your own daughter? Even you have stooped to new lows. Marcus snarls, glancing at his men. We're leaving. Cover me. He nods at Trixa's captors, who drag her toward the SUV. She yelps in pain, half limp from her shoulder wound. Derek lies behind them, left behind as dead weight on the pavement. Marcus doesn't even glance at him. No! Trixa shouts, voice cracking. Derek's dying! You can't just... But the men shove her, ignoring her pleas. A shot rings out from Alexander's side. Bullets fly in a brief, chaotic exchange. Men from both sides exchanging fire. Smoke and muzzle flashes strobe the darkness. One of Marcus's men cries out, collapsing. Marcus ducks behind the SUV's open door, half dragging Trixa. The stolen USB is in his clenched fist. The guard pinning me shifts to return fire. I slam an elbow into his ribs, knocking him off balance. Wheezing, I scramble upright and spot Derek on all fours, trying to crawl. Blood spills from his side, his face contorted in agony. Derek! I choke out, rushing to him. Stay with me! My mind screams to save Trixa, but Derek is about to bleed to death right here. I wrap an arm around him, pressing a hand over the wound to stanch the flow. He groans softly, eyelids fluttering. Meanwhile, the second SUV screeches away. Through the tinted glass, I see Trixa's eyes on me, wide with fear and desperation. Another shot pings off the metal. Then the vehicle roars forward, vanishing into the night. Marcus is gone, Trixa with him, and the USB. My throat constricts in horror. Alexander's men dash after them, but it's futile. The vehicles speed off, disappearing into the murk. The lot falls into a hush broken only by the hiss of rain and Derek's strangled coughs. Clutching Derek, I look around, chest heaving. Bodies lie scattered, some wounded guards moaning. Alexander stands among his men, scowling at the SUV's fading taillights. He whirls, eyes locking on me and Derek. Jacob, he calls, voice ragged. Are you hurt? I shake my head, letting out a ragged breath. Not me, but Derek. He's bad. Blood coats my hands where I press the wound on Derek's side. Derek's breath is shallow, each inhale a gasp. Alexander strides over, face rigid with concern. We'll get an ambulance, he says. We can't lose him. If he dies, we lose whatever chance we have of verifying that data, or finding Trixa. Derek's eyes roll back as pain engulfs him. Trixa. He took her, he manages weakly, then slips into unconsciousness. My heart twists. Alexander barks orders to a few men who scramble to call emergency services. Another helps me hoist Derek's slack form off the puddle of blood. Rain spatters us. My thoughts reel with what just happened. Marcus shot himself, pinned Trixa, shot Derek, and fled with the evidence. Trixa must be terrified. Sirens sound in the distance, and relief seeps through me. At least Derek can get immediate medical care. We carefully lower him onto the ground away from the worst of the water and wait. Me keeping pressure on the wound, my legs trembling with leftover adrenaline. Alexander stands watch, expression grim. Marcus got away with her, he mutters. Damn it! We'll track them, but for now, Derek's life matters. I nod, throat tight. We'll do everything to save him. He tried so hard to keep Trixa safe. In a minute, paramedics arrive, skidding to a stop near the footbridge. They rush out with the stretcher, ignoring the scattered shell casings. I step aside, letting them do their job. They rip open Derek's shirt, applying pressure bandages, hooking up an IV. Rain-slicked plastic wraps around him. I stand by, drenched, heart pounding with guilt. Pulse is weak, a paramedic says, voice taut. He's critical. We need to move. They hoist Derek onto the stretcher, ignoring the swirling lights and chaos, racing him into the ambulance. Before I can even process the next steps, one paramedic glances at me. You're coming? I hesitate. My mind flashes to Trixa, abducted and alone. But what good can I do this second? Derek needs help or he'll die. My voice comes out in a quaver. Yes, I'm with him. Alexander touches my shoulder, gaze intense. We'll coordinate to find Trixa. I'll contact you when we have a lead. I nod numbly, rushing into the ambulance with Derek. The doors slam, red lights strobing across the battered parking lot. As we pull away, I glimpse Alexander barking orders at his men, the drizzle continuing to soak the ground. Then the scene disappears behind us. Inside, paramedics work feverishly on Derek. His eyelids flutter, a whimper caught in his throat. My chest constricts with fear. If he dies, we lose more than a friend. We lose another chance to prove Trixa was telling the truth, to corroborate how everything played out. Stable enough for transport, the paramedic mutters. We're heading to Crestwood Private. Closest trauma center is still open at this hour. Strap in. Crestwood Private, the same hospital where Nyla's fighting for her freedom and sanity. A stab of irony twists my gut. I'd wanted to keep Derek away from the media circus swirling around Nyla, but fate has other ideas. The siren wails, the ambulance tearing through deserted streets. My heart clenches. Trixa might already be on the road with Marcus, who's probably weaving a twisted story that she's violent and deranged. Meanwhile, Derek's life hangs by a thread. And Nyla's probably asleep in her hospital bed, unaware of how badly our plan to secure evidence has failed. I press my hand against the ambulance wall to steady myself. The paramedics call out vital signs, hooking Derek to machines. He moans softly, half-conscious, bleeding sluggishly despite the bandages. I catch glimpses of flickering city lights through the ambulance windows. Each turn jolts me, a grim reminder of how fast everything fell apart. Finally, we screech to a halt outside Crestwood's ambulance bay. Doors fly open and the medics rush Derek out on the gurney. I leap down, stumbling after them. The fluorescent hospital lights assault my eyes. The swirl of medical staff yelling instructions is overwhelming, but I cling to Derek's side as they roll him in. A nurse tries to stop me, Sir, are you family? No, I admit, voice shaking. But he has no one else. You can't... My words catch, tears burning the back of my throat. Derek saved Trixa's life more than once, and now here he is. A bullet in his torso, all because Marcus staged an insane spectacle. The nurse frowns, but a doctor glances at my bloodied hands and battered expression. Let him come for now, the doctor says. We need to prep OR. We'll do what we can. They charge down the corridor, the overhead lights blurring. Staff parts like waves, some giving me side glances. My heart clenches. Nyla's somewhere in this building, hopefully asleep. A thought flickers. Do I dare see her like this? She's already stressed, pregnant on the edge. Could I even face her after tonight's fiasco? Inside the trauma room, an urgent swirl of activity whips up around Derek, hooking IV lines, calling out for units of blood, prepping to remove the bullet. A nurse physically turns me away, gently but firmly. We need space. I step back, drenched in sweat and drizzle, blood spattered on my shirt. My breath trembles. This hospital's sterile floors and glaring neon lights make me feel like I'm in a nightmare. Derek's unconscious. Trixa is gone. The USB is lost, and Marcus got the perfect footage to frame Trixa. If he so chooses, he can claim she shot him in a fit of madness. The media might devour that story. A security guard appears by the door, brows knitted. He looks ready to question me. The nurse intercepts him, quietly explaining a gunshot victim came in. They glance at me, but no one forces me out yet. Maybe because they see I'm rattled, not a threat. Or maybe they sense an underlying hush money situation from Stone. I can't bring myself to care. After a moment, a wave of dizziness hits. I slump against a wall, rubbing my clammy hands over my face. If only I'd tackled Marcus sooner. If only we'd chosen a different location. My mind churns with regrets. Trixa was so close to success. Instead, she's captive, and Derek's on an operating table. A doctor in scrubs emerges briefly, snapping, "We're stabilizing him. One bullet lodged near his liver. He's losing blood, but we have a chance." Then the doctor rushes back in. I swallow thickly, pressing the heels of my hands against my eyes. At least Derek is here, not left to die in some random lot. That's one tiny mercy, but Trixa's captivity weighs on me like a boulder. And Nyla. How do I look her in the eye and tell her everything just collapsed? Minutes drag like hours. I slump onto a small plastic chair. Staff hustle back and forth. Occasionally, I catch them whispering about the Stone fiasco or another gunshot. I feel numb. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Probably Alexander or Margaret. I can't answer right now. I have nothing hopeful to say. At long last, a different nurse steps out. She gives me a somber nod. "We're taking him to surgery. You can't come along, but if you want to stay in the waiting area, we'll update you." "Surgery," I echo, voice hollow. "How long?" She shrugs sympathetically. "Hours, maybe. The bullet did significant damage, but we have a top trauma team. Crestwood's doing everything possible." Crestwood, the same hospital where Nyla is fighting for her freedom. The nurse gently directs me down the hallway. My footsteps echo. I'm drenched, shivering with shock and cold. A sign points left. Inpatient rooms, maternity wing, and right, ICU, surgery. My chest constricts, remembering that Nyla is a few floors away. Would she sense Derek's presence? Sense the chaos that just erupted? Finally, I slump into a corner seat in the waiting area. The whir of overhead lights, the faint beep of distant machines, the hospital's antiseptic smell. It's all too familiar, suffocating. My gaze drifts to a staff coffee machine, but I'm not sure I can even stomach it. My phone vibrates again. Reluctantly, I fish it out. A new text from Margaret. Any update? Did Trixa show? Please answer. She's likely anxious about the big reveal tomorrow. Our last chance to present new evidence. My heart clenches. We have no evidence left, Not if Marcus destroyed that USB. And Trixa's not in any position to testify. She's been abducted by her own father, who spun a monstrous lie that she shot him. I type with trembling fingers. We lost Trixa. Marcus took her. Derek's shot in surgery. Evidence is gone. I stare at the words, a spike of pain lodging in my throat. Then I hit send. The phone weighs heavily in my palm as I wait, tears burning behind my eyes. My arms and shirt are still spattered with Derek's blood. A receptionist eyes me warily from behind her desk, probably wondering why I'm not a patient. I ignore the stares, letting the exhaustion wash over me. Margaret replies almost immediately. Oh God, we're in trouble. Let me see if we can delay the hearing. Hang in there. A scornful laugh escapes my lips, soft enough not to draw attention. Delay might buy us a day or two, but Marcus has all the leverage. Trix is gone. The data is gone. Derek's on an operating table. And Nyla sits upstairs. If I must face her, how do I explain that we lost everything? Squeezing my phone, I bow my head. We must do something. Alexander presumably hunts for Trixa, but that's a long shot. Meanwhile, the trial clock keeps ticking, and the media will pounce on Marcus's sob story of how unstable Trixa shot him. Then, I receive a text from Alexander. Sorry, I can't be there. I need to stay away, because the authorities are hot on my heels as well. I can't do more, but I'll follow up on Marcus. My men are looking for him. I reply, thank you. Then, not to forget, I send a text to Lori. An update about what happened and a bit about Alexander before putting my phone to the side. I rub my eyes, letting out a shuddering breath. Scenes from the footbridge crash through my mind. Marcus pressing the gun to his own arm, the thunderous shot, Trixa's scream, Derek hitting the ground. My entire body trembles, but I can't crumple. Derek's fighting for his life. Trixa might be in mortal danger. Nyla has no idea how dire this just became. However powerless I feel, I have to push forward. I vow to find a way, even if it means scouring the city for Trixa or begging Alexander for more help. Curling into the plastic chair, I close my eyes for a moment, the hospital's fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. The taste of failure coats my tongue. We were so close to saving Nyla. Instead, we gave Marcus the perfect stage to spin his twisted illusions. I realize with a pang that Derek will likely end up in the same corridor as Nyla, or at least the same building. Maybe I'll have to tell her face to face soon. The idea terrifies me. Her heartbreak, her anger, her fear. Yet we can't hide it forever. A hush blankets the waiting area. Occasionally an intercom crackles. With my eyes shut, I can still picture Derek's blood on my hands, Trixa's anguished face as she was forced into that SUV. My stomach churns. If only there were a do-over. Footsteps approach. A nurse touches my shoulder gently. Sir, do you need to be examined? You look pale. I shake my head. I'm not the one who's hurt, just Derek. The paramedics brought him in. My voice cracks. They said he's in surgery. She nods. He's in good hands. If you need a hot drink or a clean shirt, let the front desk know. We can at least find some scrubs for you to change into. Her eyes flick to the blood on my sleeves. I manage a small nod of thanks. After she leaves, I exhale shakily. The stench of rain, asphalt, and gunpowder still clings to my clothes. My thoughts swirl. Trixa, abducted. Derek, critical. The evidence, stolen. Marcus, unstoppable. But an ember of determination glows. If Derek lives, maybe he can testify about what really happened. If Trixa can hold out, maybe Alexander or someone can rescue her and reclaim the files. I cling to these maybes like a lifeline, because losing hope now would mean letting Marcus crush us all. I look toward the corridor leading to the wards. Nyla's somewhere up there, struggling. For her sake, I can't surrender. One breath at a time, I vow to find a path through this nightmare. The overhead speakers beep, calling for a surgical consult. White-coated staff hustle by. I remain rooted, battered but unbroken, waiting for news of Derek's fate, and silently praying that Trixa might survive Marcus's clutches. The odds are bleak, but as long as I can still draw breath, I will not let Marcus's final spectacle be the end of our fight for the truth.